I used to choose suit colors randomly, only thinking about color superficially. And it was a costly lesson to me. Gray is not just gray and brown is not just brown. Here's the 4-factor framework that completely changed my approach and will help you build an excellent wardrobe. If you think of a gray suit, what's the first difference among all the grays? Yes, it's the shade. The first factor, shades, refers to how light or dark your chosen color appears. This is an immediate visual difference you will notice when looking at fabric swatches, and it carries inherent formality levels that you want to fully understand. Look at these two gray suits side by side. Which one would you reach for on a Saturday afternoon versus a business presentation? Lighter shades are inherently less formal and more seasonal. A light gray suit works beautifully for spring and summer events, but it won't handle formal evening occasions. But you want a suit that works year-round? Then darker shades like navy and charcoal are your choice, because they handle more formal occasions too. Let's find out the key insight. Shade determines not just how formal your suit appears, but how often you will actually reach for it depending on your lifestyle. This is a crucial deciding factor for me. For foundation pieces, darker shades give you maximum versatility. When you want sophistication with a relaxed edge, lighter shades can even expand your casual options. Understanding shades first gives you the formality framework. Wait, you think the shade is not the only factor that matters for the formality level? You're absolutely right. The fabric texture and sheen is also crucial for formality, but that's a topic for another video. If you see blue, you immediately classify it as blue, right? That's what we call the basic hue family, our second factor. It's typically referred to as color, like blues, reds and greens. This seems obvious. But here's what I learned. Hue choice is nowadays more flexible than most men think. Yes, navy, which is a blue hue, and gray are classic choices for good reason. They are versatile and appropriate for most formal occasions. But let's see what's changed. Modern dress codes have become increasingly relaxed, and this makes versatility even more important to consider. So why not choose other hues to your liking, like browns or greens? If versatility is what you're looking for, these hues are no way lacking behind blues and grays. However, avoid being fixed on a hue as the sole parameter for choosing a color, as it will lead you to my mistake I'm going to share with you. Let me tell you about my expensive education in color selection. One of my first tailored pieces was a pistachio green suit in a worsted twill fabric. I thought I was being sophisticated, choosing an interesting color that would enhance my wardrobe. But I had only considered the hue, the surface level. I wanted a green suit. What I didn't understand was that this single color choice involved 4 critical decisions I made completely by accident. Ironically, as an artist who works with color theory daily, I should have known better. Colors work in context. Think about the last painting that stopped you in your tracks. What made those colors work together so perfectly? That same principle applies to your wardrobe. So choosing the right suit color is absolutely crucial because you have to combine it with shirts, shoes and ties you already own or are considering in order to create a beautiful painting of yourself. So the hue of the pistachio suit was adventurous. The shade was bold and the fabric was formal. That expensive lesson taught me that color isn't intuitive. There's actually a systematic framework behind every successful color choice. The next factor explains exactly why that pistachio green suit still works. It's the one factor out of all these 4 that makes the difference. Before I reveal the third factor, pause this video and look at your closet. Which suits do you actually wear most often? Which ones are hanging there untouched? There's a pattern here that most men miss. The third factor, saturation, is the one most men completely ignore. And it's often the difference between a suit that works everywhere and one that works nowhere. Saturation describes how vivid versus muted your color appears. Have a look at this tie and see what's the problem with it. It makes too much of a statement. Highly saturated colors demand attention. And if you add one other bold element, everything will fight and compete for attention. You don't want to exhaust your surrounding just by looking at you, right? Also, styling becomes exhausting and limiting in practice. The framework solution. Choose colors that lean slightly toward gray. You get personality without overwhelming your presence. A light blue that's been toned down with gray undertones gives you sophistication and versatility. The same principle applies to greens, browns and any color you're considering. This single insight is what I always keep in mind when I purchase a new garment. Now my suits became the sophisticated backdrop for my accessories rather than competing with them. More versatility, easier styling, and I never run out of compliments. Let's definitely not forget the fourth factor, temperature. Look at these 2 brown suits. Can you spot what makes one feel warmer than the other? Temperature distinguishes between cooler and warmer versions of the same color. Even with a navy or gray, pieces can lean warm or cool. And this affects both how they look on you and how they work with your other pieces. This connects to Alan Flusser's complexion theory, the idea that your face is the canvas and your clothes should lead attention there, not compete with it. Flusser teaches that your outfit's contrast should match your natural skin and hair contrast, and you should repeat your natural pigments in your clothing choices. So temperature must be equally important as the other 3 factors, right? Actually, here's my framework approach. Understand temperature as a tool, not a rule. If you have cooler coloring but love warm tones, the other 3 factors matter more. Choose the right hue for your lifestyle, the right shade for your formality needs, and the right saturation for versatility. Temperature becomes the final consideration, not the determining factor. The practical benefit: understanding temperature helps you build a cohesive wardrobe where pieces support each other. So how does this framework work in practice? I think now you have the tools to find the best suit for yourself. Let's do a check. For a business suit, you would want a hue that matches your professional needs, navy or gray. Select a darker shade for formality and year-round versatility. Saturation is of course muted for business suits, offering you maximum styling options. Temperature becomes personal preference within those parameters. A slightly brown gray or a slightly warm navy won't break the formality. For a summer sports jacket, you can enjoy more hue freedom. Stone, light blue, even olive. Lighter shades work perfectly for the season. Again, a muted saturation for styling flexibility. Choose temperature according to your taste. Warm tones have that relaxed warm weather aesthetic. The framework eliminates guesswork. Instead of hoping a color will work, you know it will work because you've considered all 4 factors systematically. Every piece you add expands your options rather than creating new restrictions. This 4-factor framework, shades, hues, saturation and temperature, will help you tremendously when choosing your next suit or jacket. So stop choosing colors with intuition like an amateur and make strategic choices. That expensive pistachio suit mistake taught me that color isn't intuitive, it's systematic. Understanding these factors doesn't limit your choices. It makes your choices more intentional and more successful. Whether you're commissioning your first custom suit or building a complete wardrobe, this framework ensures every color choice serves you well.